Perfect.
Yeah, sure,
And
sure.
for the reading, however you're comfortable, Ramanji, if you want to read out the question and then say the
Oh,
answer, we can
you
do
can
that.
go ahead. You can go ahead do that. You just
Okay.
say bye to Pranav. He has school, so he
Bye,
just woke
Pranav.
up and.
Thank you.
I'm sure. Yeah. Okay, I'll come this way. We can see you. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. So, question one was when was a time that you failed, and how did you adjust how you set a goal?
So as far as failure is concerned, at least this is my take. We are bound to fail. The question is, are we prepared for the failure? So, as I have tried various endeavors in life, I have always failed. I think um, um, it's like I am driving from Washington D.C. to New York. My goal is to reach New York, right? And I am not in New York until I am in New York. So my goal is I need to be in New York. I'm in Washington D.C. After some time, I would be in Delaware. After some time, I'll be in New Jersey. If I take a look at it in the larger picture, I'm a failure. I'm not in New York yet, right? It's a failure. I'm not in New York. I want to reach New York. It's been 2 hours. It's been half an hour. It's been 1 hour. It's been 2 hours. It's been 3 hours. I'm still not in New York. It's a failure. So failure is part and parcel of achieving goal. Just that we don't consider it failure. We consider it as process of getting to the goal. So I feel the best way to handle failure is that I have not yet reached New York is a failure, but I don't consider that it's a failure. I just consider it's part and parcel of the whole process, and I keep driving towards New York. And when I keep that process on, I will eventually reach New York. So I feel we don't need to give too much importance to failure per se. Rather, take that as a learning experience and keep moving on. As much as we are fixated on the goal, so should be our attitude, wherein we have flexibility of not reaching the goal the way we want to reach the goal, when I want to reach it, how I want to reach it, etc. We should have flexibility. I think we did discuss that in one of the previous sessions, right? We should definitely be fixated on the goal, but at the same time, we should not be obsessed with the goal. We should have flexibility. In mechanical engineering, in civil engineering, in many of the physical engineering fields, we talk about strength, right? Strength is one of the parameters that we go for when you build a we build a building. Though it is already built, we still call it building. I always ask this question: why are buildings called building? They are already built. Why don't we call them building? But then I myself have an answer for that, because a building is never built. There's always repair happening. There's always modification happening. So it is technically building. But in any case, when you build a building, or when you build a bridge, or you build a car, or build an airplane, there is always strength associated with it. But I understand in mechanical engineering and civil engineering, it's not just about strength. It's also about tensile strength, right? Am I pronouncing it right? Tensile, Tensile. Tensile strength is wherein you have the strength. What you build should be strong, but at the same time, what we build should also have strength, which is flexible. Like the airplane wings, it always feels like the wings are going to come off, especially when we are in turbulence. They start shaking, but That's the strength of the wings. It seems I learned from someone in aeronautical engineering that the wings are built so that they can bend to a good extent, like wings, not like completely like birds, but they are built so that they can bend to a very good extent. That's tensile strength, right? Just having rigid strength is going to break it very easily. But when you have tensile strength, we have flexibility. And when there is flexibility, there is more room for, you know, bearing things that don't go our way, or to take things in our stride when they don't go the way we want them to go. So I feel failures, when you have that flexibility, we can use them to our advantage. For example, one of my people who deal with me on a very regular basis should be quite aware of my fixation on doing things on time. Not that I'm really great at it, but as much as I can, I always try to stick on time. So it is 9 p.m. there, it was 6:30 a.m. here. We had to start the meditation. And if we keep the trend up, then most of you will make it on time the next time. If we started late, many of you will think, oh, it's going to start only after 5 minutes. Let me join in 10 minutes. Slowly it will start becoming a trend wherein we all will start joining in the AYUDH Reflect session late, right? So I usually try to start on time so that we don't get to that mode. But we were about to start. That's when I was like, where is Pranav? And he's like, oh, Pranav is not to be seen. Do we have a phone number for him? No, we don't have a phone number for him. Finally, we found some phone number, and then Vishnu called him. When Vishnu called him, he was like, oh, is it about to start? Let me just wake up. And then he wakes up, he runs from there with his harmonium here, and he makes it on time. So that very moment, I thought, okay, if he's not here, rather than turning around and giving him a look of disgust, or getting angry at him, we should think of being flexible. Let's go with the discussion first. But anyway, he made it on time. If had it been otherwise, it's not going. It's not healthy for the whole session, right? If I get upset, I get mad at him for not being on time. As a matter of fact, he was up until Amma finished her darshan. Amma's darshan went past 1 a.m. yesterday, so he definitely didn't sleep enough, and he has to go to school too soon. So in spite of that, he somehow made it a point to run with the harmonium here. So I think as much as we are fixated on the goal, we should be flexible too. That really helps. Talking about flexibility, I think this is probably not the perfect example, but I thought it's still worth sharing in terms of flexibility. So don't take this as a good example, but just for the sake of discussing it, let's discuss this. So during my college times, during my undergrad time, when we have exams, there's the typical case where in every class there'll be this handful, or at least one or two, who are very motivated, who are very particular about scoring high on exam, and they will start preparing for the exam a month in advance. So in India, unlike here, there is the sense of privacy is quite low. So everyone knows what everyone else does. Everyone knows what the grades others get. So there's a ranking system. So you will know what each person got. So everyone is trying to, or at least these handful of people are trying to get to the top 3 ranks: first rank, second rank, and third rank. So in our undergrad too, we had a person who will go in this incognito mode a month in advance, because he doesn't want others to know he's studying. So he'll just disappear after classes. He'll just disappear, everyone else is playing games, or they having tea together, this person will be missing. And eventually people started realizing there was a different building, Amrita School of Business building, in the other side of the campus. He'll just go there and study there in the library. So he wants to study, but he doesn't want others to study or get too encouraged by that to study. In any case, no one cared to do that. So my goal was also to study on well in advance, but I would be like, I have a month for the exam, why am I bothering about it now? Then it becomes like, I have at least a fortnight for exam, why am I bothering about it now? I have a week more for the exam, why am I bothering about it now? I have 3 more days, I have 2 more days, I have 1 more day. And then it'll be like, oh, I really need to do something about this. I need to prepare for the exam. So definitely my goal is to prepare for the exam, but I've been constantly failing as I keep postponing it. So I need to have some plan so as to keep up with it. So it later became a trend, because 5 years we are all together. All 40 of us take the same course, the same exam. We live together in the same hallway. So all of us know everything about everyone else. So me and one other friend of mine, classmate of mine, developed a good chemistry between ourselves. So he also was more or less the same, with the same mindset as mine, and we started doing group studies. So he will study some part, I will study some part. We'll come together, explain it to each other, and in a matter of day or two, we would be prepared for the exam. And with him too, that's the case. When both of us are preparing, we'll be like, oh, day after tomorrow is the exam. Let's start after breakfast today. And then after breakfast, we're a little tired. Let's start after lunch today. After lunch, we're too tired. Let's start after the evening chai. But after the evening chai, we had to go for a nature's walk. We had to go for probably something else. And let's start after dinner. And it keeps going like that. But still, whatever happens, both of us always were in the top 5. So the other guy, though he used to be first or the second rank in the class, he was still not very happy that both of us were in the top 5. He was like, I really don't care whether I got first rank or second rank. How come both of you, and he had no hesitation in asking us, how come both of you are in top 5? You just started preparing the day before, or 2 days before the exam. How come you always make it to the top 5? So why I gave you that exam is, though my goal was to study for the exam quite well in advance, and I failed in doing so, I think we did have some plan, or some kind of flexible plan, wherein we could still cope up with it. But again, I am in no way recommending you to do that. This is not the 90s and 2000s, so it's much more competitive world, and I don't know whether in US we have a setup like in India, wherein you study together, etc. So I just thought I'll share that example just for the sake of giving the example of flexibility versus goal, but I'm not recommending you to postpone or procrastinate your preparation for exam. And lastly, one other example I can think of about failure. One of the goals that I set for myself, actually it's 2023 now, I set this goal in 2003. So it's 20 years. How many of you were born then? Some of you probably weren't, right? So 2003, I had the tendency to react in given situation. Especially, I wouldn't hesitate in reacting in a strong way. So in 2003, I really took a decision to control your emotions, control your anger, as well as I could in situations that would kind of trigger me. So, part of my spiritual growth. Otherwise, what's the point meditating for so long if I cannot control my anger? All that is of no waste. It's like I go to the gym, I build a good amount of muscles, but I cannot walk for a mile without getting tired, then there's no point building up my body. Similarly, I meditate or whatever else. If I cannot control my emotions, then what's the point doing all this? So I thought I'll set a goal of trying not to react in a given situation. When I was much younger, when I was little, one of my uncles gave me a name. My official name, though it is, you would have known me as Ramananda or Ramandamrita. My official name on my passport is Shiv Subramani. So Shiv Subramani, and one of my uncles named me Shivatupparamani. In Tamil or Malayalam, Tuppardu means to spit, and I had this habit of spitting at people if I got angry when I was little. So don't be scared to come near me now, but it was when I was little. I did have the habit of reacting right from when I was little. So 2003, I took a resolve. Whenever I get into a situation like this, I need to control my emotions. So when you are trying to set your goal, you are bound to get you're bound to fail. There are going to be situations where I'm going to get triggered, etc. So I had a plan. If I did that, I should do this. If I was successful, I should reward my mind. Do something that I like, have an ice cream or have a sweet or something. If I didn't, I'll have to do this. I will skip the lunch the next day, or some way to train the mind to some way compensate, or some way train the mind to teach the mind or remind the mind that you didn't live up to the goal. So as I tried to practice that, I guess, I hope the others in the ashram agree with it. I think since 2003 or 2004, I've never had, Amritapuri is a place where you have opportunity to pick a fight with anyone you want. It's always ripe. It's always potent there. It's just about just creating a small situation, and then you can have a big fight with anyone. You have thousands around. So, and 1,000 different minds, 1,000 different attitudes, 1,000 different mentalities. So I have, at least in my memory, I've never had any untowardly situation with any of my brothers or sisters or aunts or uncles or amma, fellow brothers and sisters. When you keep it in your mind, with a flexible mind, you can handle it. One place, there are at least two places I could think where I miserably failed, in spite of keeping it up to not having a fight or not reacting, not getting angry with anyone. One was when I'm asleep. If someone wakes me up, disturbing me, I would react. And so there were many who were like, oh, Ramanand is so nice, or Ramananda, back then Ramanand is such a sweet person, and they would by chance be on tour with me, and they would make some noise, and I'm like, hey, keep quiet. And they were like, is this the same Ramanand? Is he like possessed or something? And the other place where I kind of react is bhajans. Bhajans are programs when things go, they need to go in a particular planned way, organized way. When they don't go in place, I have a tendency to react. And that's how all the people who travel with me kind of came with the term LOD. LOD stands for look of disgust. So the reaction I give is LOD, it seems. That's another thing I've been thinking about how to handle for a long time. Because otherwise, what's the point being a monk? So I hope people around me agree that the amount of LOD or the intensity of the LOD has gone down. So what do I do? My goal is don't do LODs, but LODs do come naturally. So how do I take care of it? It may sound funny. Probably I should not give it away. But my technique is every time, and I really hope people who go with me for programs agree the amount of LODs have gone down, or the intensity of it has gone down. How has it gone down? What I think in my mind is every time I get disturbed by something that didn't fall in place, like today Pranav didn't come. My typical thing was like, hey, why didn't you come on time? You promised you will come. My what runs in my mind, or my the replacing thought is that of pav bhaji. Pav bhaji is an Indian delicacy, something that I enjoy a lot. So I don't know how that thought came in. Once it worked, and I've been always doing that. So during bhajans, if you see me with my eyes closed, singing in with good intensity or good devotion, I'm really thinking of pav bhaji, because that's the thing that helps me get over the to get over the tendency to react. So every time I feel like I need to react during bhajans or program, I think of pav bhaji. I visualize it, how beautifully the butter floats on top of it, how the bread part of it also has thick butter on it, and that kind of calms you down. I don't know why. It does work. So we set the goal. We need to have some way of facilitating flexibility, and pav bhaji helps me with that. So the next time you think I have a tendency to react during bhajans, just have a plate of pav bhaji. When I look at you, just show me pav bhaji, and things would be much different. You'll definitely see a different me then. But in any case, I again, having setting the goal, I have a feeling, at least it's not for me to say, the frequencies of LODs have gone down. So that's with the anger management. I set that goal, and I try to do that with all these various mechanisms to make. It's not about overcoming anger. It's just to see how I can make my mind flexible. So the best way to overcome goal is tensile strength versus strength. So our goal should always be about strength, but to deal with it is to develop tensile strength, flexibility. So that's the first question. Did we go too long on this?
I think it's fine, Ramanji,
So
because
should we just conclude with this, or should we take one more question?
I think we can do one more question.
Okay.
Is that fine? I think that should be good. So the next question that we had in line was, this is in relation to self-confidence. And
Okay.
also, before I go into this, I know Anuj had put something on the group. I think that could be a good maybe subtopic for the breakout room, Anuj. Just want to let you know that that comment was not
Okay.
lost to the ether, but I think that could be a good breakout room discussion. But moving on to the next question that we had in our list was, in relation to self-confidence, how do you know when to ask for help and when to be self-reliant?
Oh yeah, self-reliance versus help. So I guess this is kind of related to what we were discussing. So it kind of continues from there. When you talk about self-reliance, what are we trying to achieve? We are trying to achieve some level of autonomy, some level of independence, right? And with self-reliance, we are also trying to kind of empower ourselves, that I can do it, I can very well do it, not with much of any external interference, right? That's is more or less the whole objective of self-reliance. But it is a very good thing to be self-reliant, to be independent, to be autonomous. But fortunately or unfortunately, we live in a social environment. So there are so many factors that aren't just dependent on me. And this very moment, we are doing AYUDH Reflect, and we announce it as AYUDH Reflect with Brahmachari Ramandamrita Chaitanya. But it's not really with Brahmachari Ramandamrita Chaitanya. It's not just that if I am available, this will work well. Param has to be awake, alert. Arun has to be awake and alert, Kaiva has to be awake and alert, and all 30, 40 of you have to be awake and alert. And Vishnu, Vishnu, Rahul, and Pranav, they all had to, do their part. Else, this wouldn't have happened the way it would have happened. So, fortunately or unfortunately, we are in this social environment. The world is built like that. It's built like a mesh. It's like a network. It's like a graph, wherein every node is connected to every other node some way or the other, either directly or indirectly. So, self-reliance, autonomy, empowerment is all a good ideal, but practically there are limitations to that. Because when we try to just limit everything to our own self, definitely we are limiting our perspective. We are limiting it to just what I know, and based on that doing something. We would also have a tendency to overburden ourselves in that process. So limited knowledge, limited perspective, burdening ourselves, or rather overburdening ourselves. And just because we look from my own perspective, there's a good chance we may miss on opportunities. So those are more or less, I guess, the limitations of just being focused on my own self, to be self-centric, or trying to be completely autonomous or self-reliant. So I feel because of the social setup, we should try to ask for help, or rather than asking for help, always why don't we consider it as take things into our stride. So as a matter of fact, I should be very grateful to Rahul, grateful to Vishnu, grateful to Pranav for waking up and being here on time. That's one way of looking at it. I'm always grateful for that. The other way to look at it is, it's not that they're doing me a favor. They're rather doing it for Amma. They're probably doing it for AYUDH. Why don't I think that I am taking it in my stride, or I am trying to take it in the flow that I'm going in, and it's a collective flow. So when I take that perspective, or when I develop that mentality, it's much easier for me to ask them. Because if it is just about they doing me a favor, I'll always be with the mentality, oh, I'm indebted to them, I need to do a return favor or some such. And not that I don't want to, I would definitely do something. We can do something. We can go to the Western cafe today, or have pav bhaji together. But the question is about, it's about collectively doing something. And anything that we take up, there's always going to be some collective factor involved. So when we ask for help, what we're doing is increasing the level of efficiency. Like today, if you paid close attention to, we sang Keshava Narayana, right? Keshava Narayana Madhava Govinda is kind of a, it's a 3-beat song, which sounds like a 4-beat song. Because it just goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's how the sequence goes. That's why the words are so crammed. So you miss one beat, it's going to be a problem. So in between, if you notice, I did miss one beat at some point of time, and Vishnu kind of did the backup a beat in advance to compensate for that one lost beat. So it was a collective thing. He just came in. I did not put in a request telling, hey, hi, I missed a beat. Can you please compensate for that? He just did it. So, and because he did it, the efficiency was high, right? Else there would have been some form of confusion, and there would be a domino effect, one mistake after the other. But he kind of compensated, and it just worked. So when we ask for help, we are increasing the overall efficiency of what we are trying to do and how we are trying to do. And also when we ask for help, we are we are broadening our perspective in terms of knowledge, in terms of expertise in dealing with that situation. So um, I feel we should never hesitate in asking for help. And like I mentioned, the question was, how do you know when to ask for help, right? I feel we do need help all the time. It's all about thinking what the overall goal is, and trying to tap on every resource available, be it people, be it things, be it whatever else that we can take assistance from, uh, um, so as to keeping our view on the ultimate goal, see how all these factors can help in achieving that. And so it's not about me personally asking someone, me becoming dependent, belittling myself. It's not about that. It's about the goal that I have set myself on, that I've ventured into, that I've taken as my endeavor. What are the various factors, people and things that can help with that? That should be the attitude we have. Then I think we will not have hesitation in asking for help. So your question was, how do you know when to ask? I feel it's not about when. We always need help. When you see that the efficiency is going down, when you see that I'm overburdening myself with something, when I see that the perspective is limited, that's the flag, or that's the pointer telling us you need help. You need, rather than help, you need a broader perspective, or you need support. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. How are we doing in terms of time? It's 7:30, so it's what, 10 o'clock there?
Yeah, nearly 10. So Arun, I guess we just have a couple of announcements and then we will go into breakout
Okay.
rooms. Yeah.
Okay. And Arun, are you announcing about Swamiji?
No, we don't have that
Okay.
announcement.
Okay. So I'll just do that announcement, and then